from time to time, as human beings, we can all be tempted to adopt behaviours or make choices that don't always help us get what we want. Sometimes our ego gets in the way, or when things get difficult, we might resort to some behaviours which, quite frankly, sabotage our success. And I'm going to share with you today 5 of these behaviours that I first learned from Marshall Thurber, and today I'm going to share them with you, the 5 saboteurs of success. Let's check them out. Now, our first saboteur we call the professor. Now, each of these are like a mindset that we adopt, or a form of identity, and we've given them names that kind of suggest what the behaviours are. And if you can picture a professor, typically it's someone we perceive as knowing a lot of things. The professor is very subject to feeling like they know everything. And when we adopt this professor mindset, then we often fall into the trap of not listening as well, feeling we need to over-contribute to conversation to show people how smart we are. And the real trap here is that we're not taking in some of the information that might help us to find some of the clues to move us forward. Our minds are very closed to learning. So the professor can be dangerous in that we just stop learning. Our saboteur number 2 is the victim. Possibly my favourite. Not because I like to play the victim, I certainly try not to do that, but because it's probably the one that I see most often out there in the business world. And the victim is obviously the mindset of blame. It's not me, it's these things out here, the people of events. The victim likes to blame people in advance for the outcomes that they're generating. It's never their fault. And for business owners, for you guys, it's the blaming of employees, blaming of the economy, blaming of bad customers, blaming of suppliers, whatever it may be, or justifying why something is a certain way. Coming up with all the reasons and excuses why we're not making forward progress. This can be one of the it's going to be a hard one to break out of if this is your pattern of behaviour, because it's very ego protecting, the victim mindset. It makes us feel safe in that we're not to blame. So it's kind of an easy one. But no progress is truly going to happen, particularly when things get tough, if this is going to be our default way of thinking. So obviously the antidote to the victim mentality is the victor mentality of knowing it's us. For things out here to change, first I must change, to use the cliche. But the only power that we really have is our own power of choice, and we can't necessarily control the things that happen to us or around us, but we can 100% control our response to those things. And if we keep making that choice time and time again, we'll eventually get the outcomes that we're looking for. Number 3, quite simply, the child. Now, what's the child? Well, if you've had children, got children, you may have experienced this syndrome, and sorry to pick on you kids out there because you're not always like this, but there are times when children like to play the I don't know card. How did that happen? I don't know. How are we going to fix this? I don't know. Right? Have you ever had that with yourself? Right? Someone's asking you a complicated question and you throw your hands up and, well, I don't know. Right? I don't know is quite simply a very lazy way of getting out of creative thinking. Anytime we throw the I don't know the answer out to that, we've created a self-fulfilling prophecy in that we've engaged our brain and convinced it that it doesn't know, so there's nothing we can do about it. It kind of goes hand in hand with the victim in some way. So the antidote here is to be able to ask a good question and give ourselves permission to come up with a bunch of options, maybe 5 or 7 options that could be horrible. But as long as we are okay with coming up with 5 or 7 horrible options, there's probably a chance that a couple of those are going to be okay, and they may then feed onto some better ideas. So the child, let's not do that. We're all adults now, right? Let's move on and be great creative problem solvers. Number 4, the drama addict. So the drama addict, you might be able to work out, is someone that loves to be involved in drama. You may have had this situation, or you may know someone where things always seem to be going on in their life. And if you look at each event on its own, it might look like that's a completely reasonable thing to happen. But there are tendencies and, I guess, underlying behaviours of the drama addict that bring about this sense of drama in their lives. And typically it's when we like to be involved in things, we need some sense of something important outside of ourselves that takes the focus off ourselves. So the drama addicts might like to get caught up in news events that are going on, events in other people's lives that they feel they need to fix, or when someone comes to them with a problem and they like to bring that problem, take that problem on and make it possibly bigger than what it needs to be. And this is all a way of escaping internally looking at ourselves or staying focused on what's important. It's a welcome distraction that the drama addict can easily justify because it's important stuff and they're helping other people. These are some of the language and thinking that goes behind the drama addict. When really, in any situation, we've got to be able to either distance ourselves and know that this is not for us to get involved with, or if it is something that we need to get involved with, be able to clearly identify the root cause and assertively deal with that, rather than maybe delaying some conversations we need to have, not saying some things that need to be said, asking some tough questions, whatever it might be that's going to bring resolution to the drama. Whenever we sort of find ourselves being tied into other people's drama, we've got to have the awareness that, we're probably buying into this one a little too much and time to cut it loose. And finally, number 5, the doormat. So the doormat is when we take on the persona or somebody who allows other people to walk all over them. And this is when we're typically settling for lose-win type outcomes in personal interactions. We're not being assertive to ask for what we want. It may be that we're saying yes too often, or we are going along with what somebody else is saying, but generally we're not standing up for ourselves. And it might be because we're not confident in what we want, we don't know what we want, or we don't like conflict and we don't like to potentially say no or face rejection from others. So yeah, like many of these, the doormat really is the mirror to come back to ourselves and understand what's going on within our own psyche that's leading us into these sort of behaviours. But the doormat rarely gets what they want, simply because they won't stand up for it. So again, let's not do that one. So there we have the 5 saboteurs of success. And if you'd like a copy of this as a poster, you can download it here. And on the poster, we've also got the flip side. The 5 saboteurs is what not to do, and the poster has what to do. So number 1, always be open to learning and know that you can always benefit from new perspectives. Number 2, always take responsibility for everything that's going on in your life and your business. You always have a choice. Number 3, take the mindset of being the creative problem solver. There's always a way to find an answer. And number 4, stay focused on your goal. Stay out of other people's business and don't make things bigger than they should be. And number 5 is to be assertive and know what you want, and always look for those win-win outcomes. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can download the poster. You can also subscribe here to our YouTube channel, and we welcome any comments or questions below. Go out there and make it a great day.